Hi everyone, I'm Jan from Jan Plans Things and welcome to my July Plan With Me video. This video I'm going to set up my bullet journal for July. So what you can currently see me doing is my cover page. I find that I always struggle to think of a theme for every month. July is important for me because it marks 1 year since I've started bullet journaling. It's been really fantastic. I've learnt a lot over the year that I've been doing it. I mean, when I started out, I was really keen on doing maybe 1,000,001 trackers and all these other things, and I found that over the year I've slowly whittled down to the things I really enjoy doing in my bullet journal. So what you'll see is kind of like the spreads that I tend to do every month, plus 1 or 2 bonus ones just to show you guys the type of layouts you could do with this theme. So the theme that I picked was an ocean theme, but a little spin on it was that I wanted to make it look like a mini world. So what you see me drawing now is a little envelope that that opens up and it shows like the ocean inside. And I used a similar technique to my last video where I lined everything with a 0.1 Sakura Micron and then went over with a 0.8 to get it a little bit more, like a bit more emphasis on the lines. And I'm going to watercolor everything this month. I really enjoy doing it, and I think I've slowly started to get the hang of watercoloring on the Leuchten paper. You can see even here in this clip at the moment, can you see the little 3 lines in the left hand corner of the paper? And that's what happens because the paper's so thin and it buckles. So you'll see me over the course of this video going back a lot with my brush and then picking up the colors and just trying to, like, with the brush, soak it up so that it doesn't dry and create these strong stripes throughout the drawing. The pro of it is that most of the time the paper, the Leuchten paper, means that the journal dries really, really fast. But currently in Australia, we're in the middle of winter and it's quite humid today. So you'll see me pausing a lot and just waiting for the journal to dry before I keep going. Because if there's anything that I learned during this doing this setup is that patience is a key, especially when you're doing watercolors, because you don't want all your colors to blend together. So this is my front cover. I really enjoy doing this. A lot of you have asked me, I just wanted to point that out, that's like my favorite pen. What you saw do the calligraphy, that's the Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip pen, the blue barrel, and I think that's my desert island item. Followed closely by that IKEA coaster you just saw, because I seem to be quite lazy when drawing my circles. You'd think that being an architect for 10 years I should have circle drawing implements lying around, but no, I always use my IKEA coaster. So what I've started drawing now is my monthly layout. So I've always had a lot of fun doing my monthlies. It's one of my favorite spreads. I can play around with it a bit. At the beginning, I used to do the one that Ryder recommends in his bullet journal video, which is the list. But I found that I didn't fill in every day, and with my personality type, I couldn't deal with that list and having, you know, chunks of the month not filled in. So I learnt from Bumblebujo. She's a fantastic bullet journaler. You can find her on Instagram, and she came up with this like dial idea, and I've kind of used it in the last couple of months for my monthly, and I really, really enjoyed it because it means that I can place the days that I actually need around the perimeter of the central dial, and if there's nothing on that day, then I don't have to write anything in. And I did this with a flower theme last month, and it was probably one of my most popular spreads of all time, so you guys seem to really, really like it. So keeping with the theme of the little ocean worlds, this one's like a world in a bottle, kind of like when you have you know, those little boats that they do little sand models inside a bottle. I've always been fascinated with them, so I've used this as my central item for my monthly, and I've just laid on a whole bunch of blue for the ocean. What I learned from that is don't be lazy, get a bigger brush, because oh my goodness, what that meant was that it was really hard to spread the colors around evenly, so it came a little blotchy. But you know, I'm going to embrace it and make it seem like the blotchiness was intentional, because then it kind of dried nicely and gave that little watercolor look. But you can really see in this portion here, because I was laying down a lot of colors, how the lotion actually buckled, but in the end it dried okay. So you just saw me drop on a bit of white paint to create a little bloom so that I could put stars in the middle. I used an acrylic paint to paint the stars in, and I think if I was to do it again I'd use a gouache, because the acrylic that I used was a little bit too watery. And here is another thing that I wouldn't do again. That's when I painted the white. What I really should have done was been patient and then used a white pen, because it pops a lot more watercolor than if I had actually just painted it with the white. But the other thing was that I used this $2 white paint from the general store, and it was not a high quality white, so I regretted that a lot afterwards, but that's okay. In the end it looks alright. So you can see here I'm actually painting in the splodges for the numbers, and a lot of you always ask me, how do I get my white pen to look so bright on the splodges? And the thing is, I've used a couple of inks like the Tombow brush markers and stuff, and every ink reacts differently as a base to the white. So test the pen first. Some of them pop a lot more. Watercolor works fantastically, but you know, you don't always have that around. But I find the Microns are fantastic as well if you need to make a strong black mark, and then with the white on top. So here's my next spread. I've decided to do a mood tracker. I thought it'd be quite fun with this thing. I've been bad at keeping up mood trackers in the past. I probably need a tracker to make myself remember to put in the mood tracker, but I think because this one's so fun and cute, I won't mind it so much, and hopefully I can fill it out. You can see, like, I started drawing it with pencils, but like around this time I was feeling really confident in drawing shells after doing it the last couple of spreads, so I just started to YOLO it a little bit. So I just went and drew it, and then you can see that was probably a bad idea, because apparently I still can't count, and I ended up with 30 days in July when there's really 31. I don't even know what I was thinking, because like I can watch myself get to the bottom of this page and I just kind of shudder, because I really could have just fit an easier shell down the bottom, but that's okay. I think what I'll do is I've got a bit of scrap LT paper lying around, and I'll just patch it over and then draw a new shell. But at this point I had committed to my states, and I'm gonna embrace it. And now in my mood tracker there's only 30 days in July. I'll update you guys later if I end up fixing it. On the right hand side, I'm going to do a little like ThinkPad brain dump page, and it's mostly for ideas for my Instagram feed and my YouTube videos, because I'm really new to these videos. I'm not 100% sure what I want to video yet, what you guys find interesting, what you guys might like seeing. So I've got a little YouTube tracker in the corner, and then I've got things like possible themes and videos and everything. So I've drawn these little terrarium bottles, and I'm going to put little tags in the corner so that it just shows like little bullet points of ideas as I come along, because you guys always give me really great ideas, but sometimes I misplace them. So this is an effort for me to like keep it all in one spot. And then as you can see again, I'm going to do the calligraphy with the Fudenosuke pen. That's I just love that thing. I think I've bought like so many of them, because I couldn't do calligraphy before, but when I got that pen, everything became easier, because you could draw thin lines well because the tip was hard. I found it really hard to do calligraphy with like the Tombow brush pens, because the tip was so soft that when I lifted it, my lines were wobbly. So in the future, I'll do another calligraphy video for you guys to show you what I mean. It was hard for me to draw small, nice small letters with other pens, but that's like my holy grail calligraphy pen for bullet journaling. So now I'm starting on my weekly layout. I thought to keep with the nautical theme, I want to do that little life-saving donut. I apologize, I can't. It's not called a life-saving donut, is it? But I'm gonna keep with that. And then I wanted to draw that, and a little porthole window showing my little fat round whale. I thought he was really, really cute. So I've done the same techniques as before. I've penciled it all in first, and then I've gone over with my 0.1 micron. When you're using microns, I like them a lot because they're water fast. But the thing is, if you buy a fake one on eBay, you'll find that your pen might run. So I haven't worked out completely how to make sure that you've got real ones, because sometimes you accidentally buy, you don't know, the seller doesn't know. So the thing is, it's best to check first if your pen is water fast. So I did that with the 0.1, and then I went over with the 0.8 to make it blend a bit more. I tried a different technique with this one this time. I kind of wet the whole circle in the middle, and I'm just dropping really pigmented colors on, because I kind of wanted it to look marbled. It's a technique that's normally really easy to achieve on watercolor paper, but on the LT not so much. I was like trying to see whether or not I could blend with that technique, and I'm actually really pleased with how that turned out. So I've gone back now and I'm drawing a few more splodges, and then I was like, I thought that something was missing, so I went back and drew some rope, but you can kind of see my hand hovering over the paper because I didn't want to touch any of the wet paint. I really should have just waited, but you know, sometimes you just really want to see how it looks all at the end. But I had to go sit in front of the heater afterwards to try and dry this a little bit faster. So yeah, this was my weekly, and I'm really happy with it. I think it's super cute, and I love that dial layout, because it means that I can be really flexible with my tasks during the week. And yeah, so that was my setup for this month. I'm really happy with this theme. I'm really looking forward to doing all of them, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time. I'd love it if you guys subscribe to my channel, and thanks a lot. Bye!